Our name comes from the people of West Africa, and it comes closest to being like amen. We talk to God, and at the end we signal our understanding of God's omnipotence when we say amen, so let it be done. And so Ashe is that. It's about making things happen.
Amen means that I have faith that my prayer will be answered. And that's what Ashe means. It says, when you say a prayer, you say, Ashe, I have faith that God and the ancestors will answer our prayers. Haley Boulevard corridor was blighted. It was blighted because, you know, the history of that street and this neighborhood is that this was the black shopping district during segregation. And so when integration started to take place throughout the South, and people could shop on Canal Street, or they started to build malls, this whole neighborhood, this whole corridor went into decline.
I was thinking that there was a way to be able to revitalize the spirit of that past in a future, and that the community was down for that. So this community had been dreaming of the revitalization, however, for like almost as long as it had ended.
Carol Bibel and Doug Red opened Ashe. I had a theater company called the Dog and Pony Theater Company, and one of my board members knew them quite well. A guy sadly missed, Kenneth Raphael. You know, Doug was a brilliant visual artist. Carol's the poet, you know, just really the eloquent sort of face of Ashe.
It was the absence of places for artists to hang and to be able to do things other than just their art, to do their art, but also the things that derive from the art. And so you know, they needed a place for that, and so there's a huge lobby for that, whether they were theater artists or visual artists or, you know, poets or whatever. And so that was the community that brought us into existence. What we brought as a part of who we were, Doug and I, was the community that was not that. That were people who were just in the community who loved art and culture and like loved being with each other.
There's many art pieces that deal with things in society, but there's no way for really art to fix society. What art can do is heal people, you know, bring people to a different level. You put real life on stage, but people, they live it every day. You know what I mean? So I think that if you're able to take people somewhere else and deal with the same issues, there's something that opens up.
And so we handle uncomfortable conversations here, and we use art as our way of provoking it, objectifying it enough so that nobody has to feel like you're talking about them, that we can be talking about the folks that were on the stage and the song on the walls, and that folks can see themselves, like themselves or not like themselves, and be provoked to want to do something about what it is that they see. And the movement was about essentially animating people to discover that the power of we, when it is got bunches of numbers together, is something that moves the dial on the things that we really feel are hard, right?
So Ashe was one of the first organizations that came on the street to really start the revitalization that we can really see has really taken this boulevard to a very major place today. We've been really able to to research and teach our young people more about African, not only drumming and dance, but also the history, like all the iconic religious symbols and the rich history and legacy of our people. Drumming is essential. And so we have the circulation of our blood, we have our mind, our body, and our souls are all in rhythm. And so African people know this, indigenous people know this, not just in Africa, but throughout the Americas, throughout India, Asia. Indigenous societies always use drums. And of course, the genius of African civilization is that the African languages are tonal languages, like O da bo. So then on the drum you say ba ku ba. So that was the whole thing why Europeans didn't want Africans, enslaved Africans, to play drums except in Louisiana, because they knew we could communicate, because the drums could actually speak the languages.
The magnetism that culture had to people, that there's a way in which when you are rooted inside of who you are and whose you are, that like anything can become an exciting thing to do. And so part of our brand is that we have the familiar taste, smells, and feel of old while we're constantly evolving. And it's our challenge, is how do we manage to be familiar and at the same time new?